on like as a guest, like New York Times bestselling author Marissa Mayer, and StreamYard decided to malfunction like nobody's business.
Oh.
Like oh no, so there's literally me, Marissa, and my doppelganger. There was actually like another like screen with me on there for a second there. But I mean, what a story to actually start with. I have a doppelganger story with Marissa Mayer. Isn't that cool? I mean, that's the good thing about it, right? The bad thing about something like that, though, is when you have something like that happen, it feels bad but there's nothing you can do. There's absolutely nothing you can do.
Nope. I'm gonna try my buds here.
No worries. Did I spell your name right? I'm really worried I screwed up now. Yes, I did screw up. Give me a second here. It's Charlie McElvy, ladies and gentlemen.
I am Charlie.
Yes, I am a trained professional. Or to that, I added an O there where I shouldn't have done the O. So let's see if I can fix it. Because I'm good that way or bad that way. We'll let people decide. And hold on, see here. And magic. But you never know, right? Like it's always one of those things. Do it. It's just like, okay, right? How you doing today, man?
It's a Monday, and it's actually probably one of the most Mondays I've had in a while.
There we go. There we go. There we go. Hi. There we go. Your name is there now. I'm special. I can spell ish. But no, like I said, it's just part of the nature of what this is. Like when you go on a show like this, like you have the mentions, but anything and everything happens.
Oh, for sure. That's the beauty of live, right?
Yeah. Yeah. If it was perfectly planned, it would be boring. It would be absolutely freaking boring. It's the fact that all this shit goes wrong. All right, that's what makes life worth living. I've had 3-year-olds hold my show hostage. Right. So I actually just posted no, I'm serious. Like I actually set like one of my little short clips coming up. It's called Harrison is My Nemesis. Right, because I have Madeline Dale, author, her 3-year-old son will come up and just interrupt and just like because it's his mom and son.
Oh, that's great.
Say, look at that. Why? Right. So you learn.
I've been on somewhere that dogs are barking and yeah.
I think one of the big, can you repeat that?
Oh, I was just saying, yeah. No, I've been on shows where like dogs are barking and somebody actually left the stage to go get the UPS package from the mail person, and it's been fun. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, it's just life now. That's just like the one thing about, I mean, they quote unquote new normal. I mean, that's the one thing that has stuck around. Like no matter what, life is going to happen around you. Zoom meeting, it doesn't matter. Things are going to happen.
That's right.
You just hope people are wearing pants. That's it. That's all you hope for.
Or they just don't stand up. Yeah.
No, see, I hope they're wearing pants because usually it's one of those like life things like that will come to haunt you if you don't. It's just one of those things I've learned in life, man. Just like at least have pants. Just at least have something, right? That way when people listen and watch you and all that stuff, it's like they'll take you seriously. There's no question in mind something's gonna go wrong because if somehow the camera goes up or down.
Yep.
You don't see that stuff. You never do. You're like,
no.
Yeah.
As you can see, or somebody adjusts their screen accidentally and they
exactly. Exactly. It happens.
It does.
Right? And then,
it does.
And then when it does, you're like, oh no, what the hell just hit me here? Like what the hell just and it's
No, it's just
Go on.
sorry. No, it's funny you say something. So last week I had a work call that popped up in my calendar. I wasn't originally in there, but they invited me, and I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, I got time. I'll finish up my run and I'll come back." So I finished up and I wiped down. Then I realized, oh, I've got like 3 minutes to get on this call. So I ran into my closet here, threw a polo over top of my running shirt, but I still have these booty shorts on. That no, if I stood up, like all thigh would be hanging out, or something. So
Char-
it was funny.
Char-
And I was
Charlie McElvey, booty short fit. That should be your business card. That totally should be your business card, my friend.
Oh man!
Again,
How
I
you
told you,
doing?
all right, up and down. The freelancing's been tough the last couple months. It's getting easier next month. A game. I'll be working for the Calgary Flames.
Oh,
That's a. No. Yeah. I hope. I think so. Yeah. Yes. I think so. There we go. Funny. I went here because I wanted a good internet connection. Little did I know.
oh.
But no, it's
where
one
are
of
you
those
located?
things where I'm right now in a Starbucks in Calgary. Right now, my place has got got some extra guests coming in, so I'm at a Starbucks. But Starbucks is relatively reliable, so I figured it'd be good. And all of a sudden, it's like, no, oh god, right? But this is the way it goes, right? But no, so like I said, I'm working for the Flames starting next weekend. I'm looking for some more client work. That's going to be like once I'm done this interview here, I'm heading to another location. I'm going to be working with that's going to be my evening is looking for client work, whether I'm advertising projects like comics or videos, video like advertisements and stuff like that. Whether I'm writing, I'm just going to be hustling for the next week, trying to get some clients.
Smart.
Well, just the way
That's
it
good
is.
stuff, man.
Well, you have to. I met an old friend. He was still working at my old day job, right? He's a driver. He's making decent money. I was done. I left. He goes, what you did. He goes to me, what you did took balls. But I've learned an awful lot. And one of the things I've learned doing this is always look. You always have to look for the next gig. Always. Even when you have gigs, you have to look. I admit I learned that one kind of the hard way a little bit. But I mean, you have to always look because, yeah, I mean, I did work with you this year. I did a comic book gig with you, right? Which is cool. I had a lot of fun with that, right? But now I'm looking for more comic work. Now I'm looking for more video work. Now I'm looking for more whatever the case may be, So, and that's it. That is a big part of my day every day. Whether I get something or I don't, I'm always looking.
Yeah, no, that's I mean, that's not unlike, that's any freelance gig, right? You have to make sure that you've got something that's going to keep you moving because you don't know. Real estate is not unlike that, right? If you're in real estate or car sales, you can't just go, oh, I sold a car or I sold a house and then bounce. You've got to build up and be always advancing the next deal. So, and frankly, comics creation isn't much different. You've got to keep it moving. You got to be writing constantly, and you got projects that you'll never start because they're just not the right project, or at least not now. But you save them for later. Yeah, you got to have a windfall at some point.
Well, it goes both ways. There's times when you're so busy you can barely keep up. That happens too, right? And then you're like, I can't do, and then you have to kind of prioritize. But you always kind of keep in the back of your head. You got always and this is what I've learned in this life is you always got to kind of keep in the back of your head. Nothing lasts forever. Nothing, right? So if that's the case, you have to always be moving. There's an old movie called Glenn Ross. I don't know if you've ever seen it.
I haven't. I haven't watched it, but yeah, I own it actually. Funny enough.
Yeah. Alec Baldwin's speech. He's only in that movie for 10 minutes. But one of the things he says is always be closing. And that sounds very salesy. But the truth of the matter is, what he's actually saying is, you always have to hustle. You always have to move. You keep going. You keep going. You keep going. You keep going. And you keep going. And you get yourself into a groove. And once you're in that groove, There's ups, there's downs, there's lefts, there's rights. I'm working to get to that groove because in 6 months I don't want to be tied down necessarily to a city anymore. I might be I'll probably be one of those wandering like vagabond comic guys. Like they're just like going to different shows and hanging out and I actually was joking with a friend last night. What I might end up doing is turning my giant van, like the van plan I have, I might make it an ice cream truck / bar. Right.
Nice.
I think selling ice cream and booze together is a fantastic plan.
That
So
would be so cool.
yeah.
I mean, everybody thinks of the obvious stuff like, oh, I'll open up a comic book shop and a cafe. It was like, okay, well, yeah, I mean, there's some cool versions of that where I've seen people go, oh, I'm going to open up a comic shop that also has an art studio and a cafe. Okay, that's pretty cool. Booze and ice cream?
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. I've had like I experimented with Bailey's and mint ice cream. It's a fantastic combination. Right? It's a fantastic one.
gosh.
Yeah, you're like, I've opened your mind to possibilities you've never considered before. Yes, Bailey's and this is my opinion. You can try, results will vary. Bailey's and mint is best. Bailey's and vanilla is good. Bailey's and chocolate is okay.
I don't like chocolate anyway, so
Wait, no. Again, some people. I look at it like this. Everybody likes ice cream. Most people have a choice between vanilla and chocolate. Some people like vanilla. Some people like chocolate. I have to, again, customer service there, Charlie. You have to make room for everything.
No, I'm just saying I wouldn't even bother with the chocolate anyway. So me personally, for me, everybody else, I'll serve you whatever you want. I say I'll sell you anything.
Yeah. So I'm good with that, right? I'm good with that. Like, but no, it's just one of those really like weird ideas that just hit last night. It's like, I could do it. I could probably the hardest part is keeping the ice cream cold while you're on the road. Yeah. That's the hardest part. I don't think that's that hard really. You just have a good enough freezer that can go. Doesn't eat your battery to death. You're probably set, right? Ice cream and bar that's moving and rotating various places, right? I might have to rethink my idea though of an ice cream horn. I was originally going to do that as a practical joke, but now I'm like, I might actually have to get the real damn thing. Like, just come up with like some really cheesy ice cream music that adults will realize actually it's going to lead to booze.
You get an ASCAP license or whatever the license is for Canada. I would assume ASCAP is still the ones, and then get the songs and then convert them to like music. Ding 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 ding, whatever they are. That'd be fun.
Yeah. No, it'd be hilarious to see me coming down the street like that, and then half the time I'd be at a bar, half the time I'd be interviewing people on the road, right? Either way.
Man, it'd be like some drunk interviews too. It'd be.
That'd be fantastic. Are you kidding?
That's gonna be awesome.
So I take it you approve of my idea.
Oh, dude. Look, there's things I come to Canada for sometimes. So like I'll go to Toronto if I'm anywhere near New York or Vermont or something like that. I'll try to swing into not Vermont, but I'll try to swing into Toronto. Just because I love Edie. Is it Edie's original? Good grief, I can't think of her name now. There's a place. It's a Hungarian thing. They call them. Oh shoot. Hang on, I'll tell you the name now. Edie's Original Chimneys. I don't know if you've ever had one, but it's stupid good. Yeah. Here you go. I'll show you. Here, I'll share.
Yeah. Just send it to me. Like this is hilarious, folks.
Yeah.
By the way, did you ever think we'd be talking about like ice cream, booze, and like places to eat in Toronto as our interview today?
So here, I'll drop it in the private chat.
No worries.
So this place. So check it out. So I was in Toronto. The Blue Jays were actually in the World Series that year, and I went to the Nest to watch some of the game, and they had this big food truck rally, and I saw this place. I took my family there, and it was Edie's Original Chimneys, and absolutely go there. And I had one, and my family had some. They actually gave us some free ones because they were out of ice cream. And to your point about the ice cream, they couldn't keep it cold long enough, so they sold out the ice cream quickly, and it was a hot day anyway. Anyway, long story short, I was like, okay, they opened up a retail chain. So 2 years later, we came back, and they have a downtown Toronto. You can see the address probably from the link there. The place is open. We went there again, and I love it. It's fantastic, and it's cool because they put these little like chocolate balls in the very bottom.
Oh,
It's not always
nice.
chocolate. Yeah, but the cone or the chimney down at the very bottom, there's a ball, and you can fill these up with like Nutella and ice cream, or and all these cool flavors. It's delicious. I don't know why. It's just one of those things I have to do. So
Yeah, no,
when I come to Calgary, I'll have to come chase down your truck and get some booze and ice cream.
I may not be, but here's the thing. I actually might like my plan next year. So I'm going to be under contract to probably test this game for however long I'm going to do it. I'm going to be working for the Flames till May. After that, I might sneak into the States. Like, I might just go into the States and do this all over, right? And kind of see. The only place I won't even try it is Utah. They have this weird alcohol like concept there. So I right to it, right? Or like when you get you might be doing no. Here we go again.
Okay.
Here we go, and it is back. It is, and I paid here for the Ripple connection. Just the way it goes. But what I'm saying here is I went to I'll avoid Utah. I might be just a traveling guy that's originally comes back to Calgary just to work every few days. But I might go anywhere as far as the band goes. So who knows? You might be at a show somewhere. You might just see me there. Be like, "Hey, Charlie, how you doing?" You're like, "Hey, so that Bailey's thing was awesome. When you got, have you tried some other stuff?" As a matter of fact, and then next thing I know, funny. I have a bunch of drunken comic book creators talking shop with me at there, and getting completely blitzed on ice cream. I just hope that happens, folks. Yes, that's right. I think that's the part that makes everybody. That's the part that's popular. People getting blitzed on ice cream, right?
See, now I'm thinking like I've got to, of course I'm in the States. I've got to have a local party, like, and get a bunch of adults to come down who are like, that are drinkers, and have a party with like bourbons and liqueurs and all these other things and a bunch of different ice cream flavors, right? And we kind of set up our own little like, let's sample, and then I'll send you the recipes that we like. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
We'll be the lab for you. Yeah.
I love that I went from last night talking about this with a friend in California to this. You're like, hey, this sounds fantastic. And again, she had the same reaction you did. This sounds awesome, right?
Oh,
I must have a good idea here. Yeah, I must.
I'm telling you, it's brilliant. And that's the thing is like if you could find a nice way to like make booze floats or whatever you're gonna call them, with all these different flavors and stuff. Selections. That's the nice thing is if you can have a bunch of selections and have some menu items that you can recommend or suggest, you gotta have your what is your signature one? You got to have that one, but that'd be fun. That would be really cool.
Yeah, I might try. Like I said, I'm at that point in my life. I don't want to work for people anymore. Like don't get me wrong, I don't mind doing it that way, but I'm too old for a job, Charlie. I kind of came to that conclusion. I'm just too old for a job. I want to do things on my own, and things that seem fun to me. That right, and maybe that's a crazy way to live, but that's kind of how I want to do it.
No, I'd love to be independent fully. It's hard for me because I have a bunch of kids. My family we have 7 kids. One of which I just married off. Yeah, so it's different, but we love it. No regrets at all.
No, I like here's the thing, right? We all make choices in our lives. And really, at the end of the day, we do it exactly what we want to do. You wanted a family. There's nothing wrong with that, man. Like, that's it. That's what it comes right down to. There's nothing wrong with having a family. So, I mean, if that's the life you want, who is anyone to tell you otherwise? Right?
And that's it. Yeah, we don't. That's the same, and that's true for pretty much anything. Is I don't really worry about what people think of my lifestyle. The fact that I do comics, there's no shame at all. In fact, I just had a conversation with a mail carrier today. She was coming by and she said, "You're the one that always gets the books," and I go, "Yes, I am." She goes, "What? Do you mind me asking?" And I was like, "No, I don't mind at all. Look, it's comic books. I buy a bunch of independent comic books. I back them through crowdfunding campaigns. I do my own books and I do crowdfunding, and so I ship out just as much as I get." And she goes, "Really? That's really cool. I had no idea people did this kind of stuff." And so it was a neat little, people don't realize, that. So it doesn't matter anyway. The point is that it's I love my life. I live it and I'm proud of it. And, people are going to walk away going, this guy's an idiot, or they're going to walk away going, hey, he's happy with his life. Either way, I am happy with my life.
And really, who cares what anybody else thinks? That's the other thing too. You come to this like beautiful epiphany at some point. It really doesn't matter what it looks like to anybody else. Who gives a shit, right? It's about what it's you. It's how you want to live. That's it, and that's all there is to it.
Well, and I think that's my thing is, philosophically, I know some people consider it political, but it's really philosophical. It's just let people live their lives. If they're not hurting anybody else, just, and they're having a good time, let them have a good time, drink up.
Live and let live. Yeah, live and let live, man. Like life is ridiculously short, and the last thing anybody needs is somebody else to tell them what to do. Like life's hard enough. Like don't add to it, because honestly, here's the other thing. When I've gotten older and / wiser, well, we'll leave the wiser to it. Maybe, like I said, you don't know me that well, Charlie, so maybe I'm not that right. But I just, like I said, I realized that the only times in my life that I've ever really truly hurt myself is the what ifs.
Yeah.
Right. I went to Vancouver. I was leave my job to go into the movie industry. Now that didn't happen because of the pandemic. It just happened. My timing was I was going to quit April 2020 and go into the movie industry. Now, obviously, in April 2020, nobody was doing anything, right?
Nope.
But so I mean, that wasn't really my fault. That was one of those like,
Yeah.
Right. I tried. It's not my fault that an act of God stopped me. It's like, okay, fine, right? I can live with that, right? It sounds hilarious, but it's the truth. It's the only reason why I stopped, right? So,
I actually owned a gym, and I had owned it for almost, what even 2 full years, but we were starting to become cash flow positive. So we had cash flow positive income. We weren't in the black yet because we had loans and stuff we're still paying off, but more money was coming in than was going out. So we were in the black on a monthly basis. And then the pandemic hit, and it was really cool because, that was one of those things to your point, I was trying to be a little bit more independent. I got comics, I've got a day job, but now I've got a gym. And if I can get this built up to a level, and it was a Ninja Warrior style gym. So it was unique. There was the only one in town. In fact, people came from Williamsburg, people came, from hours away to be in my competitions or to just come train with me even. And so it was a really fun, unique thing. And man, it was hard. So, we had a nice landlord that, our last day of business was actually March 15th of 2020. The landlord's like, hey, I'll give you rent free for like 4 months. Let's see if we can get out of this thing. And after about 2 months, we realized it wasn't going to happen. And so we had to close up shop. I liquidated and whatever. Stuff happens.
But. Well, no, I mean, that sucks. I'm sorry, bro. I mean, that honestly, that sucks. Yeah, but I mean, what are you gonna do with an act of God? Like, but that's literally like what it is. It's well, yeah, shrug, right? Once I realized that 2020 was going to be a wash, I decided to freelance full time. Right, learn about freelancing, learn the craft. I've learned more about business in the last 2 years than I've ever learned. Right, so I think, just because this is also the time to build. Like people think bad times are sometimes when you shut down and stuff. No, it's the time you actually take some chances because opportunities present themselves in interesting ways.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is, and I teach my kids this too, but I have no regrets about anything, and you know what, I'm not sad about anything either. I mean, like, yeah, we lost the gym. You know what? It's actually, our family got tighter. I learned a lot, like you said, about business, about, running things, about managing individuals and stuff like that. Things I wouldn't have learned in my regular day job, even though I've been a manager and stuff like that. There's just nuances to running your own business that you don't learn unless you go out and try, right? And so, I know everybody loves the Gretzky quote of, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, but it's so true. It's a truism for a reason, and it's because I that's why I have no regrets. Is like stuff happens. I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep trying. If a book fails or a campaign doesn't get funded or whatever, it doesn't matter to me. I'm not gonna cry. I'm just gonna go, you know what did I learn? Apply, grow, move forward. So that's my life.
No,
You want me in a nutshell? There you are.
well, but that's it. Well, that's what I mean. That's the best way to be in life. People think like people call me a very positive person. What I tell them is it's actually the only way to be. You don't know how the real world works. I'm not aware of how the real world works. It's too big. There we go. Back. So I'm too much of a realist to figure out how the world works. So I can't be a realist. I think cynicism by and large is useless. Right? By and large.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah. So I don't real, and I think cynicism is useless. So all I got left is to be a positive person. Right? So it's all it's default. It's the default setting. And it sounds really simplistic, but the truth of the matter is, like, it's not always gonna work out the way you imagine it to. It never does. Ever.
No.
So but that's not always a bad thing. Sometimes that's a great thing. Because what happens sometimes is better things come along that you never would have anticipated doing it on your own. At the same time, it's also, again, we just mentioned this earlier, the 3-year-old holding my show hostage. Harrison is my nemesis, right? These are the things that make life interesting. It's not the fact that you're going to succeed or you're going to fail, because none of that stuff's guaranteed. No. What matters is, did you do everything you knew how to do? Did you make the best effort you could make? Right? Because sometimes, man, that souffle just doesn't rise. And sometimes you discover a new ice cream flavor. Sometimes, and that's all right. And sometimes, like, you popped, because I did that on purpose. I just wanted to make you pop on that.
I love it.
Yeah. That's just it, right?
I sent a quote out to my family. So my kids, from my 11-year-old up to my adult children, we're all in this little family text thread, and I sent them a Bruce Lee quote. It says, "We all have time to either spend or waste, and it is our decision what to do with it. But once passed, it's gone forever." And obviously, there's all kinds of depth you can pull out of that, but the gist is really, I wanted to show them, is like, hey, no one can criticize you for anybody can criticize you for whatever they want, but no one can really criticize you for how you spend your time but you. And so you can either live a life of regrets because you didn't try things or didn't do new things, and which, by the way, is a waste of time. You can be cynical about everything and assume nothing's going to work. That is also a waste of time. Or you can just continue to move forward. And that's why Anthony Harry and I say this all the time. It's like, always forward, and some of that comes from Luke Cage, Pops. Pops is like, always forward, never backward, always forward. But we've said that before that show came out. It's just a true statement. You can't go backwards, frankly. And that's the other side of it, is you just can't. So why not just keep pressing forward? And if your attitude is forward thinking, then you'll be happy, and crap won't bother you as much. Yes, you'll get mad. I get mad. Yes, you get frustrated. I get frustrated. But you know what? Small snippets of time, and then you let it go. You got to let it go. You can't hang on to those things. You can't be angry forever, and you can't be cynical about every darn thing either.
Yeah, cynicism's there to protect you to it. Like, cynicism at its best protects you for a short period of time from some immense pain.
Totally. Yep.
But inevitably, you got to let it go, because you have to deal with the pain you have. That's just life, right?
Yeah.
Right. And that sounds a lot easier than it actually is. It's simple. Again, I'm keeping it simple, not easy. I'm not saying it's easy. What I'm saying, folks, is that we have to change. That is the constant rule of life. We can't go back to who we were. We have to be who we are. and that's a very different perspective. I left that day job I talked about. I can't go back to it. I'm not equipped anymore to be in that position. Not because I don't have the skill set for it. I just don't have the patience. I'm just not that guy anymore. Yeah, I'm not that guy. All right, I'm not that guy anymore. So now that doesn't mean I can't. Now again. So now I'm looking at, okay, what can I do to actually make myself succeed? And inevitably, I will find something, and then I will And again, I don't have a family to hold down. So for me, buying a house makes no sense. Now you 7 kids, yeah, you want a house, and hopefully none of your kids have decided to become a demolitions expert while in your house.
No, thankfully.
Right? yeah, right. I mean, that's what you hope for when you have that many. By the way, here's the thing. Okay, this is just a parenting question here. If something breaks, because I know nobody will take the blame themselves, how do you figure it out? Because you got 7 kids.
Yeah. So I'm the worst person to ask for that, because none of my kids are like that. If they break something, they'll come and show me, and they'll be like, I'm sorry.
They're super. So they agree that. They agree that.
They're a well, they never even had it. I mean, they've always been a really high integrity bunch. I've never ever had a child hide from us. I wrote on the wall. Actually, we only had one kid ever write on the walls. But anyway, I think that for us as parents, my wife is fantastic, and she spends a lot of time with the children independently. Whenever I'm home, early in my life, I worked 3 jobs just to hold things down for, even 2 kids. But nowadays I spend as much time as I can with my family. To the point about the pandemic we were talking about earlier, that's not unnatural. When we got tighter after the gym closed and everything, it's because we were together more. And rather than get sick of each other and bounce everywhere, we actually just continue to bond. We find things. Great example. I'm almost 50. My wife is right. She's a lot younger than me. But no, she's right behind me. And age-wise. And we listen to K-pop. And the reason we listen to K-pop is because our kids introduced us to it. And so we bond through music, and we watch BTS concerts. We pay for them to watch them stream online and stuff. And those are moments where we come together as a family. We sit down. We won't watch TV shows without each other, And so I think it comes back to the types of relationships you have. Now, that being said, not everybody can do that. And that's one of the reasons your question comes up, is because not everybody can do that. And especially in, I can't speak for other countries, but in America, my wife and I look at it and go, it's really difficult to buy a house, especially now. It's very, very difficult to try to run a single income family, especially now. And so these things pull away at the family, which I don't know if it's a construct of government control. I won't be conspiracy theorist and get all into that. But I mean, it is the net result of what's going on, is with inflated prices, inflated taxes, inflated burdens on families. They're not spending time together. And so it's really difficult for families to first off, it's difficult for anybody to want to have a family as large as mine. But it's also very difficult that when you do have a family, to actually spend the nice, quiet moments together, to grow together, to bond, so that you don't have those issues, right? So, I don't know. I don't know what I do. My kids, if they break something, they bring it to us and go, I'm sorry.
That's testament to both of you, right? That's testament to both of you, that part. The only thing I will comment. This is the only thing I will comment on. We're not going to go down the conspiracy rabbit hole, but just real. Well, this is all I say. I look at it like this: if someone's benefiting from it, there's a reason, and that's it. And I let people. I once upon a time, I was very heavy into the conspiracy deep dark rabbit holes. I think that's I'm not gonna say a necessary thing. Like you want to learn how the world works, and so you explore every possibility. Now I'll say this: there are some I definitely do think are true, but at the same time, I'm not going to necessarily say that the world is going to end tomorrow in a blazing glory of lizard people. I'm not going to say that. It's possible, I guess, but I'm not exactly going to. I'm not. It's not going to be my first go-to. How right? It's just one of those. It's just one of those things I've learned about life. Is I'm open minded enough to realize that the world's bigger than me.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm not looking anymore for a specific blame for any reason why things are happening anymore. Not because I don't care exactly, but because I just it's more like, how do I put this? It almost doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Almost.
No, I agree. You know, because
Yeah.
what first off, the first question you have to ask is if it is true, and you know, I should get angry about something, then what can I do about it is the first question. And
Hmm.
if the answer is nothing, then it is a waste of time. If the answer is very little, then maybe you go a little deeper, right? If the answer is you can do a lot about it, then heck yeah, get involved. But you know, whatever it is, obviously I'm just generalizing now,
Yeah.
but I agree. Like, you know, people talk all the time about mainstream comics. So, you know, we're comic guys, and people talk about mainstream comics, and there's all these conspiracy theories about this and that, and you know, whatever. Or people do something similar. God forbid, two creators come up with the same thing, and it's so darn close that it's like, oh, he stole from me, or she stole from me, or I stole her. You know, whatever. It's like 9 times out of 10, probably 99.999 times out of 100, it's just coincidence, you know. And one, if it's worth it, issue a C&D, you know, go and talk to it, try to, you know, work things out, whatever you got to do, you know, follow the steps. But chances are it's just an accident. I don't worry about stuff like that, and I don't sweat it. You know, it's like you can't spend too much time worrying about a lot of things. If the DC stole my comic, well, probably not.
No.
You know,
No.
it's just not in their vested interest.
By and large, I mean, if you're Alan Moore and Grant Morrison, you might have reasons to have gripes. I think, in all fairness, I think both you
Totally.
have reasons, right?
I'm talking about
Right,
little
and
guys
we're
like
not,
me.
and
Yeah.
yeah. Well, here's the thing, right? Like, you might come up with an idea, I might come up with an idea. It still might be a different thing. Like the story I did for
Yeah.
you, right? Which, right? I know I made you pop when you saw it's like, hey, I'm using this character. That's really cool. It's like, but I
I
came up
love
with a
that.
fun
Yeah.
little story. Yeah, right. I came up with a fun little story with it. It wouldn't be a story I don't think you tell with that character, right? And that's fine, right? Because that's what I brought to the table. Now you do maybe a similar story with them with a very different outcome, and
Totally.
right, and that's different, right? And that's different, and that's the thing, right? We can come up with a similar idea, but we can still tell it a very different way, right? That's the other thing too. Like, it's not just the story concept that's the right. It's what we bring to the table personally.
Well, and I think that's really, you know, that's so you're hitting on something, you know, really cool. Like that's to me, that's one of my favorite reasons of working with other creators is I get to see what is Josh going to do? Josh is going to do to my with my characters. You know, what is Devin going to do with my characters? What is Vito going to do with my characters? And you know, you almost get to sit back and just kind of go, and then you go, I didn't see that coming. Catherine Calamia, she did a short and as well. And first off, she picked one of my Canadian characters, and I was like, oh, okay, where's she going with this? And then I got the story, and it's this deeply personal human story, and
Mhm.
I'm like, this is powers are used and stuff like that, sure, but it's so I did not expect it. I thought maybe she'd go out there and do some crazy, you know, megalomaniac taking over the town and you know whatever, and this person's going to go in there and save the day. No, no, the context of this whole thing's a funeral. So it's quiet and it's different and it's beautiful and I loved it, you know. So it's really fun to work with other people. And to your
Yeah,
point, you know, you're gonna have ideas that are so wildly different with the same characters, and it's fun.
yeah, yeah. And like I said, the only rule of thumb was just be consistent with the character. Like the character I use, I thought
Right.
he would look at these two as kids. He would. I thought
Yeah.
that's what he would look at, and maybe he'd see similarities with his own kids. I thought that'd be a neat story. How would he deal with that? Right, right,
Yep.
and also now if of course his kids and him now start racing as a regular thing because of that story I wrote, I feel like I did something good. It's like, hey, yeah, he would do, because he just seemed like that kind of guy. It's like, yeah, okay, let's have fun, right?
Well, and it brings a humanity to him, like you said. It makes it touches on the father part of him, that I might not have ever actually planned to touch. Now
Yeah,
it gives me another thing to think about. When it comes to that. So
yeah,
because he's a pretty stoic character typically.
yeah.
And so
That's
yeah, I thought it was really
that,
cool, man.
no, that's why I did, because I thought, like, he seems like the serious type. But what would he do if he looked at two
Absolutely.
kids? If his opponent
Yeah.
were two kids, how would he look at them, right? And like I said, I just thought, yeah, he would be. I think because he has his own kids. Like, he'd see where it go. Like, that's what he would do. Like, he'd want to see where it go, because I think he's naturally probably a curious dude. But that also might be just me, because I'm naturally a curious dude. So
Yeah, no, it's great. It's great, and I can't wait to see what Paul finishes doing with the pages and stuff. So I'm excited. I'm anxiously excited to see those pages. So it'll be fun.
Yeah. So let's get to your current project, because that's what we brought. That's. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've enjoyed this chat. Like I said, I never thought.
Oh, me too,
we would
dude.
start.
We can talk all day.
No, I never thought we'd open talking about ice cream, booze, and chimneys. Like that's
Oh,
right. But that's why I like doing this show too, because I never know what I'm going to get with my guests. So, right. So I generally don't have a plan. I just kind of just go and wing it. But you are here to promote stuff, so I mean, we got to do it with some kind of style and pizzazz here. So
there you go.
yeah, there you go. So, what are you up to, man?
So I got a couple things going on actually, as of today. So hadn't publicized this very much, but Scott Fogg. If you guys don't know Scott actually did Phileas Reed. Knows We're Not Alone, and he's done a couple other things. He's won awards. He's a great dude, great writer. He's a fellow father. We hit it off really well early on in my indie comics career. He's written a book called Night Care, and it's like Adventures in Babysitting meets the Justice League or the Avengers, and it's like, what do superheroes do with their kids when they've got to go off fight crime? And what do they? So they drop them off at Night Care. And so it's really cool. It's an all ages, really fun book that Scott's putting out. George Camadai did the first issue art. I think he does 2 issues actually of art. So it looks great. It reads great, and it's really exciting for me to be able to publish somebody else's work. So it's the first time I've been approached to do that, and I'm really excited about doing this with Scott. So that's live on Kickstarter right now, Night Care. And then the other thing that's been going on, and it ends this week, Friday, in fact, is Milestone. So Milestone is, we talked earlier, is a great segue into this. We talked earlier about taking shots and trying things out that are different, progressing forward and doing different things. And so I went to Zoop. I had spoken to the guys at Zoop for the last, I don't know, I guess it's been probably since Spider Squirrel 1 launched. So a little over a year, we've kind of went back and forth. I initially talked to them. They weren't accepting they were very selective because they were very closed in their early days, because they were trying to make sure that their product was viable, it was good to go. So Zoop opens up the platform, and they reached out to me. And so I was originally going to bring Spider Squirrel number 3 to Zoop, but I decided I'm going to be consistent. I'm going to deliver the same printer, the same format, everything the same with Kickstarter. I'll just stay there for now, but I'll bring my next book, which I have now on Zoop. So Milestone is out there, Milestone number 1. And we were talking about working with other creators. I get to read this book like a fan, because I didn't write this one. So I created this character back in 2014. But I didn't have a visual yet. I started working with Drew Moss. I've known Drew for, it seems like forever, but at least since 2010 or so. And Drew did the designs for the character at, my recommend. I was telling him, hey, it's kind of like Blue Marvel, or, but still superhero, And so we came up with Milestone's look together, and then I had a plan to introduce him in Spider Squirrel, the Spider Squirrel miniseries, which I did. So he first appeared in Spider Squirrel number 2, and it cameoed, last panel, shadowed the panel there, and then, And then issue 3, Milestone makes a full appearance. He gets involved in the action. He's actually critical to the success of the closure of this story. And then he has a 6-page kind of an epilogue that Vito wrote that leads us directly into the Milestone miniseries. So this is a direct spinoff from Spider Squirrel, but where Spider Squirrel was like silly and funny and cute and goofy or dorky or whatever you want to call it, this book's a lot more serious. It's a lot more human, and it's a very introspective kind of a book. The characters alone, he's got this world-ending power, and yet he's fractured and fragile, and he doesn't have a home to go to. You'll learn more about that in this book. He's been around since World War II, and he's just in his era, in his universe, and so he's seen it all, and so he's lived a long life, and yet he hasn't aged today, and he still continues to fight. But there's a lot of questions about why and why do I keep going on, and so Vito will answer these questions. Again, I get to read it as a fan. I'm enjoying the heck out of it. There's some Grant Morrison-esque moments. There's a phenomenal page turn in here where you got to read it. It's an issue 2. So we got to get issue 1 funded so I can get you guys issue 2 in your hands. Because I read this and I was like, I read the script and I go, how the heck is the artist going to draw this? He's like, Vito goes, oh, he'll figure it out. And he did, and it was baller. So anyway, Milestone's out there now. It is live on Zoop. You can just go to milestonecomicbook.com. It'll take you right to the Zoop campaign. And we have, 5 days left? 5 days left on the campaign.
Do you have the link?
And, it's going pretty strong. Let me drop that real.
Yes.
So yeah, that's what we got going on right now.
So
I'm real excited about both of them.
Yeah, no, you should be, man. That's really cool. We'll do the proper. I want to ask a couple questions before we wrap this bad boy up, right? Because I have enjoyed I got it there, and then I got more links here. So like I said, trained professional, ladies and gentlemen. The real secret to success, folks, pretend to know what you're doing, and sometimes it actually just magically works out. So for Milestone, folks, you can definitely check this out right here, right? And we'll definitely do this when we get to the post as well. So Night Care just launched, so there you go. See, I almost know what I'm doing, Charlie. Almost. But
oh man, you're great. Hey, the fact that you could do it from a coffee shop is impressive, because I'm a squirrel. I'd be like, oh, what's he doing? Oh, what's that guy talking about? So
now,
good for you.
Real secret, right, is when you do a show like this. So when I first did this show, I'll tell you, like back in the day, I bring people, like when it was on audio, I would take them to bars and coffee shops. It's a neutral ground, right? Because here's the thing, right? People, when they meet you, it's like, hey, I want to interview you, right? When they first don't know who you are, it's like, who the fuck's this guy? Well, we'll meet me wherever you want. Right? Because of wherever you're comfortable with. So they'll take me to the bar. Like there's one episode in my audio track. We literally went from a restaurant to a coffee shop. And I actually left that 10 minutes of audio of us traveling to the coffee shop in there on purpose. Right? Just because it added something to the show. So I learned very early on, all of which to say very early on, like focus on the guests wherever you are, give them a chance to talk and be themselves. Right? And especially folks who want to look at those early episodes, you will hear a lot of waitresses and stuff taking our orders throughout, because I kept that stuff all in just because it's real, right? It's absolutely real. So it's given me the training to do this. So it's like, doesn't matter who's across me, you got my undivided attention, right? And if you are in a restaurant, that could be hilarious. Live show, just you up there on a stage going, it's like, Charlie, you here? Oh, sorry. Wandering. I saw stuff. It's all good. It's all good. Okay, so a couple things before we wrap up. A couple personal points.
Yes, sir.
You got into comics. What was your comics? Like, what were the comics you got as a kid that made you go, I wanted to do this?
It was definitely the Wolfman Perez Teen Titans. Now, my first comic book ever that my grandmother bought me from a local 7-Eleven had He-Man fighting Superman. It was DC Comics Presents number
I remember. I remember that.
47.
I remember
Yeah.
that one. I had that one.
Dude, you had
Here's
He-Man, Skeletor, Castle Grayskull, all with Superman on the same cover. It was awesome.
yeah, and here's the thing. We're gonna spoil this one a little bit, folks. So here's the thing: He-Man's immune to Skeletor. Superman is not.
Not.
And that was
Yep.
the whole premise of the story, right?
Brilliant. I
Yeah.
loved it.
Yeah.
So I went and actually bought so with my own, like allowance money and stuff, I was maybe 9, 10 years old. I'd walk 2 miles down the street to the 7-Eleven and I'd buy more comics. I'd buy like DC Who's Who's, and that was my jam. Like my early comics reading was all Who's Who's. I was a pure nerd. I wanted all the encyclopedic knowledge about these characters, and so I loved it.
Those Who's Who's, like the late 80s Who's Who's, they were the shit. They were the absolute
so good.
Shit. Yeah.
So, but yeah, when I actually started reading real stories, though, it was definitely the Wolfman Perez, run on New Teen Titans. Those were big influences for me. But also the Claremont X-Men, of course. I think guys my age, that tends to be like our two pillars of, holds up our entire comics universe, right? But I got into Alpha Flight, and I collected every single issue, every appearance. It didn't matter what book it was in. I had X-Men 120, I had X-Men 108, you name it, man. I still have them.
So for me, it's Green Lantern. I have Silver Age.
Green Lantern. Yep.
I got the Silver Age Hal Jordan stuff. I got Sinestro's first appearance. I got some other cooler issues from the early run. I grew up reading Kyle Rayner. Like Kyle Rayner was my Green Lantern. Although now that I'm older, yeah. But now that I'm older, I'm convinced John Stewart actually is the money in Green Lantern. Right? I'm actually convinced, like, of the characters, he's got the most potential because he's got one like the coolest stories ever. Young me, I appreciate Kyle. I appreciate Hal. Older me, no, John's pretty badass. That's like literally that's literally how I evolved my thinking there. And Guy is fun. I love Guy Gardner is super fun. Yeah.
So I love the influence of JLI, the Bwahaha years on my book, for sure. I love Guy for that reason. I mean, and how many times have you seen the One Punch, right? I mean, whether it's cosplay, acting, or anything, it's just like.
I love Hal Jordan's receipt in Rebirth. That was hilarious when he one punched Batman. That was good.
Yes, that was great. So Green Lantern is absolutely one of my top, solo heroes of all time. And my first real introduction to him, like truly, was Emerald Dawn.
That's a good run. No, that's a really, really good run. That was
so good. Yeah.
So for me, my first two comics ever were Starman number 14 when him and Superman were fighting, and that's the Will Payton Starman with Roger Stern, Tom Wise.
I love that. Yes.
Yeah, that's a good run. Like say what you will, like that's my favorite Starman run. I understand why people like Jim Robinson's run, like Robinson's run later, but my Starman run was the Will Payton, and was good until it wasn't. It once Stern left, but when Stern was on that book, it was a fantastic read. He did a really good job of balancing his humanity with his issues. But Green Lantern
and what a cool costume, right?
And then Green Lantern came shortly thereafter.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's
I love that Starman costume. I bought that book for that wild purple and yellow costume. I thought that was the coolest thing ever. It's like
I did like his black costume a little better. Like when he went to the
black costume, with the red.
I like that one a little bit better. But no, he looked cool. He had a decent rogues gallery. He was interesting until he wasn't. Unfortunately,
I know. You know what? Now I'm gonna have to go to Amazon or actually I'm gonna swing over to my local comic shop today. I'm gonna see if they have a collected edition for that. I think that's such a cool.
It's one. Well, here's the thing: the late '80s comic, like the '80s, early '90s run of comics. There's some gems there that a lot of people. Yes, we think of Peter David's Hulk. That's another great run.
Oh yes.
Perez and Wolfman's Titans run is fantastic. Claremont's X-Men, like that was Claremont at his absolute best. Was that late '80s, early '90s run? Like that like he's had good runs since, but that run he was on fire, right? But there's so many. Like one of my favorite like runs from that time was Jonathan Strander's. Both his Hawk World and his Suicide Squad runs were great.
Oh, yes.
Right, both of them were great, and so I mean, so and Batman, like in my honest opinion, that is the best Batman era. It's the best one because you had just so many Dennis O'Neil, Alan Grant, Frank Miller's Your Run story. You had just so many, and I should not just forget Frank Miller's Daredevil run was also really freaking good too. So I mean,
oh yeah,
yeah. So there was a great tier of great creators doing great books, and a lot of like they were taking chances. Like that's why our Alpha Flight comes in. That's why I mentioned Starman was coming in. They were letting these creators tell these really cool stories. I look at mainstream comics today. The one thing that really makes me sad when I go to the comic shop, and I don't mean this like in a terrible like I don't hate the properties. I just hate the number of them that are in existence. The number of Batman books, the number of X-Men books that are there. I hate it because it's impossible for me to pick all of those up. Like I thought like from the current X-Men runs, Excalibur is super fun. Marauders, like Kitty Pryde's a pirate. That's
so cool.
Yeah, that's like those are great concepts.
They are.
So many but there's so many X books that tie into all that stuff, right? It doesn't let burden. Those. Yeah, that's the thing, right? I like right now, and that makes no sense to me, right? That makes absolutely no sense to me, and I'm just like, I want my variety with my big books again, because I want to get a couple of them, but I mean, on the plus side, so I get more of the independents right now because I can get my one and dones and enjoy. Again, we're at that point. I think this is the honest. I think that we're everybody. I want a good story, but I want a self-contained story. I don't find a big event every so often. Case in point, I collect the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles run. Right. They got the Armageddon game going on right now, and everybody loves Last Ronin. I know everybody freaking loved Last Ronin last year. It's fantastic.
Oh, it was awesome.
But here's the thing. That's the thing. I get the regular book, and we'll do a special little thing on the side. That's it. I can buy all that. I
agree,
and it doesn't hurt me.
Well, and that's the thing. I think with independent, somebody asked me, says, why aren't you doing Spider Squirrels as an ongoing? I said, one, it's difficult to do an ongoing indie book. I mean, if you're not a writer and artist, so it's expensive, it's time consuming, it's very difficult to manage. But the other side of it is your exact point is, I know I like a self-contained story for the most part. Now you can have teasers and hooks, and you can have other things that kind of imply there's more to it or something else is coming or whatever. But you don't have to have this like. I remember when I was reading X-Men, and it was right about the time Gambit got introduced. It was 266, and the stories were so convoluted. I felt like I had to go back 20 years to catch up on things that they're talking about, and it was very frustrating. And then to your point, like this current run is really good. It's a bunch of individual books, and some are really good, and some are mediocre, and some are terrible. But you can have a couple favorites. The problem is that they're all burdened by each other, and that's what I agree. Is like there's a gala. Okay, well that's one thing. Oh, now there's this thing. Oh, there's another. And so now you got to keep crossing back and forth. And I really like it when books are a lot more self-contained. Again, I love a big event every once in a while, but they're obnoxious now. It's every 3 months there's a new big event.
Yeah.
Oh, Dark Crisis. Tomorrow it'll be Bright Crisis, and next week it'll be the new Bright Crisis. And then next week it'll be New 52 Crisis. And sorry.
No, don't even get me started on Crisis, like the word Crisis of DC. Here's the thing.
Oh, wait. Yeah.
Well, here's the thing, right? Crisis on Infinite Earths. You're talking about Mark Wolfman and George Perez's ultimate
magnum opus.
Yeah, that's out, right? Right. The only other one that you can argue, okay, so for Wolfman, you could argue, by the way, little aside, if you can find it, find Mark Wolfman's Flash novel for Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Oh.
He actually did a Flash novel, and it's fantastic. He gives Barry an awesome ending in that story. It's actually phenomenal. It's great.
Well, I
You
just
can tell
jotted it down, so I love
yeah,
it.
there's just So, and George Perez. I mean, the only other one you could argue is George Perez's opus is JLA Avengers. Holy crap, was that insanely good, right?
So good, yeah.
Right. And again, that's what an event should be. It's funny I mentioned Ninja Turtles. My favorite crossover for the last 5 years has been Batman and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Self-contained.
Oh, I've got those. The Freddie Williams ones. They're
Yeah,
so good.
They're fun. They're so
They
fun.
are. It's ridiculously great, you know.
And also, it's like the best. Also, some of the best Batman writing you'll ever get. It's some of the best Turtle writing you'll ever get. James Tynion the Four is great writer, but they're self-contained. You don't really need too much from either book to really understand what's going on, right?
Yeah, just the characters, really. Like the concept is enough. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And man, they did a Crisis. They did the riff on Crisis of Infinite Earths was fantastic. I loved it. Krang and the Anti-Monitor like joining forces. It's like this is crazy. I mean, but the thing is, they didn't make it a crisis. They made a homaged it, but it didn't make it a crisis. They actually made a really personal Bruce Wayne story in the last crossover, and it was like,
oh, I haven't read that. Volume 3?
Yeah, it's volume 3.
Yeah, I've got it over here. It's actually in my reading pile.
Yeah, no, dude, it is. It's one like honestly, it is the best Batman I've read in the last 5-6 years. It's easily the best Batman I've read. I like crazy. That. No, it's so because Tynion loves Batman. Like Tynion loves Batman, and he does such a wonderful job. Yeah, no, dude. I have all the single issues. I have all the single issues.
See, I regret not buying the single issues. I actually have 2 copies of number 3. I just realized one's still sealed.
So it's okay. No, see, so when Kevin Eastman's Ninja Turtles run came out, when I saw Eastman's name in, I just said, this was me, right? I looked at it, number 1, it's like, I'm in. I don't care. I'm in. I'm just in.
Yeah.
Right. I have not regretted it. It like, and even
it's
now.
So good.
Yeah, I haven't. Sophie Campbell's doing a fantastic job on the main book. Tom Waltz, when he comes Tom Waltz did a phenomenal 100-issue run, right? And Last Ronin was fantastic. Like, so it's just like, why arguing with this? And when they do crossovers, the other really fun crossover they did was Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and really,
that was so fun.
Yeah,
I love
that's what a crossover should be. I actually legitimately think, as a rule right now, the big companies should be like, self-contained event. I don't want anything in the Radler books. Let you guys have to tell your stories there. When this is over, when we finish this, then you can go into your new. If there's a new direction, then you go into it. That way, it gives everybody time to tell their stories. Because that's it, right? And also,
it's so good, man.
Yeah, that's what a crossover should be. That's what a crossover should be. So
and that's what I love.
Yeah.
So now I moved them to the top of my pile.
So
by the way, I have those IDW Eastman books. I bought the entire run of 15 hardcovers just to because I was I want these.
No, you will.
I do. I'm on volume 6 now, and it's my gosh, it's so fantastic.
So right now, wait. Volume 6. What issues was that? Is that City at War?
It's
Is it City at War? If it's there.
No, this is the Mutanimals. Yeah. There's Metalhead, the Mutanimals, Casey and April. It doesn't give me a title.
Yeah.
The City at War. I think I read that one. I think that was volume 5.
Okay, so
you saw Slash.
I'm not spoiling anything for you because just like you said, enjoy the ride. That's all I'm going to tell you, man. Enjoy the ride.
I have loved it. And then, of course, I'll finish it off with a reread of The Last Ronin. So once I finish volume 15, that's my gift to myself, is to reread. Because I have these singles, but I also bought the hardcover. It's the first comic that ever made me tear up, dude. It was so good.
No, Last Ronin's fantastic. Like I figured it out before. I never read it. I got it slowly, right? But I had a comic shop on my pull list. So I just got it whenever. It's like whenever it came out, it's like I'm just pulling it. I'm buying it right there. It's like all the other books on my pile. Nope. It was easily the best. Up to I say issue 4, it was easily the best book I read that year. issue 4 was good, issue 5 was good, but at that point you had the gravity of the story, which is just so good.
And that's it. And my son, he's like, "Why did it have to be that turtle?" I'm not gonna spoil it for anybody who hasn't read it, but I'm surprised if.
But no,
it's
actually,
at this point.
it's the only one it could be. It's
That's what I
legitimately
told
the
him.
only.
Like,
No, yeah, it's the only one it could be. The other, like the two
others wouldn't work. Yeah.
One might work. One other, the other. There's one other. Yeah, right.
I agree, and I know exactly which one you're talking about. But
yeah,
you're right. And my son actually made that argument too.
but actually, what I would tell him, actually, I'm not going to spoil. It's a tiny spoiler. They kind of do it in the main book a little bit. In the main book, they talk about it. So a little bit. A little,
like
I'm not going to spoil. I'm not.
Is it later? I'm assuming it's later, like one of the more recent issues.
Around volumes 8 or volume 9. Volume 8, volume 9.
Okay.
It'll come up when you see some of the other problems introduced that right. Because it explores the psyche of his psyche a little bit, and it's interesting. It's really, really interesting.
Okay.
All right. Which
excited.
is why while it could have been him too, it shouldn't have been. All right. So,
my wife is telling me goodbye.
Yeah, no worries. Tell Mrs. Charlie I said hello. Before I. So I got some bad news and I got some good. Here's the bad news. I have to wrap this up.
No.
I have enjoyed our conversation.
Me too.
You got to come back again today. But that's the good news.
I'd love to. No, thank you very much for having me on, man. I appreciate you.
Yeah. So let's do it properly. Just do it real properly here. Do your plugs again. We're going to close the show with your project because that's how it should be, and then we'll wrap up.
Okay. So thank you very much again for having me on. I am super, super stoked about this. I've got 2 campaigns running right now, 2 totally different books, 2 completely different creators. One is my book and it's Milestone. Number 1, it is currently on Zoop.gg. Now you can go to milestonecomicbook.com. It'll take you right to the campaign. I will, so I own that URL. I'll use that for all of my campaigns. It's a really, really good book. And I can say that because I didn't write this one, even though it's my character. I get to read this as both father and fan. And I'm telling you guys, this is one of the best books I've read in a long time. So Vito is crafting an amazing story. And the art by Ariel Medel is, chef's kiss. The other thing I am doing is Night Care for Scott Fogg. So Scott wrote and created these characters. This is his book. It is not a part of the Zion universe. So we'll call it a Brand X book, meaning I am publishing it for Scott and promoting it. And we've got it on Kickstarter right now. If you just go to nightcarecomic.com, it's Adventures in Babysitting meets the Avengers. And that's it's a lot of fun. It's a really well done book. It's all ages too. So readers, buy it for your kids, buy it for yourself. Adults and kids alike will really love this book, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm sure they're going to walk away after the first issue with some favorites. So thank you very much, Josh, for having me on here. I appreciate it.
Well, Charlie, we got to do this again, and we'll go a little longer next time because I get the feeling you and I could just nerd out about comics for 2 hours easily. Easily.
Probably.
So for anybody watching, anybody listening, this is Charlie. Check out his books. He's a good dude. I know I've worked for him. He's a really, really good dude. And so I have a bit of I know it's like, check out my advertising service. If you're looking to actually advertise your project for yourself, I do video, audio, words, and pictures. It's all there. You can definitely take a look right now. And that will do it for this episode, Just Joshing. Now, I don't know when I'm going to be back next. I might be back Thursday, but I think I'm going to be back a little sooner. I have a couple guests that I'm just waiting to get some dates finalized on. They're going to be up this week. So for Charlie, thank you, Charlie. You are more than welcome to come back anytime you want. For everybody watching, everybody listening, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Stay inspired. Keep shining in the dark. And I'll see you next time.